Hi everybody and welcome. Today's topic is gonna be how to learn a new language. Now, this video isn't gonna teach you any language, but instead it is going to give you a roadmap in order to guide you in your language learning. Without further ado, let's jump right in. The first step to learn a new language is to learn the alphabet. That of course only if the language you're trying to learn has a different alphabet from the language you already speak. There are many techniques that can help in learning the alphabet, but that's behind the scope of this video. The only thing I want you to keep in mind is not to dwell too much on learning the alphabet, because later on it is gonna come more naturally. The second very important step to learn a language is to figure out the grammar. But what do I mean by figuring out? Grammar is the most complex part of any language, and forcing yourself to learn it perfectly since the get-go, it will be like learning how to run before learning how to walk. And that obviously can lead to frustration. Grammar is the main reason people who are learning a new language give up. But why is that? Grammar can have many difficulties for beginners, such as cases, different forms, and many rules. If you are struggling with grammar in your language learning, don't give up, but do this instead. Vocabulary. Remember, vocabulary is king when learning any language. But how can you learn vocabulary effectively? Well, a simple way is to name objects around you. Simply, objects you can find in your room, outside of your house, anything you can think of, and put the name of the object into the translator. That way, you have learned a new word. One problem of using this technique is that you might forget the words you have learned if you don't review them daily. And this is why, when learning vocabulary, it is important to practice a lot. Now, to help you practice, there are many free apps in the App Store. But many times, alone, unfortunately, they are not enough to learn a new language. After you have learned from vocabulary and you know some basic phrases, a great exercise you can do is to watch YouTube videos with subtitles. One objection most people have is that automatic subtitles aren't accurate, and that is true. But they are perfectly fine for learning a language. That's because they only work if the words are pronounced correctly. And by the way, that's the reason I manually put subtitles in my videos. Anyway, you can just put in the search bar for something you wanna see in that language. You can watch anything you are interested in. Anyway, for beginners, the videos that contain conversation between people are better. The important thing to keep in mind is that if you can't understand anything, don't worry. With time, you will understand more and more. After that, if you feel like you have made progress and you can now understand most YouTube videos in that language, then this means it is time for the next step, which is polishing. What do I mean by polishing? Basically, learn many new words, learn new grammar rules, and fine-tune your accent by listening to natives. The key for this is daily practice, even if only for 10 minutes, because the way the brain works, it tends to remember better and faster with a small amount of daily practice rather than a very big session once a month. Now, an important disclaimer is not to expect to learn a language overnight. It is a process that takes time and dedication, but there are many ways to make the time you spend learning a language more enjoyable, and there are many techniques to reduce the frustration that come with learning a language. The last important thing I want you to be mindful of is the learning curve. Because at first, you will spend a lot of time and a lot of energy in trying to learn a new language, but you won't see much progress. After a while, you will find it is much easier to learn, and you will find that you will progress at a very fast pace. Once you have reached an advanced level, then again it is gonna be harder to progress. This is very important to keep in mind at the beginning, not to give up, and once you are advanced, to evaluate if you really need or want to spend a lot of time to achieve a perfect level. Another thing many people might want to know is where to learn the grammar. There are many free videos here on YouTube that will teach you the grammar of most languages. The last thing I want you to keep in mind is to enjoy the process of language learning, because it can be very enjoyable if done the right way. If you're interested in many techniques to speed up your learning and make it easy and enjoyable to learn a new language while keeping up with your busy work schedule, then watch part 2 of this video, which will cover exactly that. I don't have much more to add, other than see you soon on Picus, the channel where we keep on learning even after the video ends.